The lights are dim, the whispers are loud. And the Harris family, once the picture-perfect empire of hip-hop royalty, is now drowning in a nightmare so raw. It makes the Kardashians look like a family game night at Chuck E. Cheese. King Harris' final moments weren't just heartbreaking. They were the kind of twisted drama that leaves even the coldest internet trolls clutching their pearls and refreshing their feeds, like junkies waiting for their next hit. Tiny, the mother who held it all together with a mix of patience, eyeliner, and reality TV grace, broke down in a way no camera should have ever caught. And T.I., the so-called king of the South, was reduced to a man raging against the universe, his fury shaking walls louder than his expeditious vocabulary ever could. Leaked whispers, blurry footage, shady insiders spilling tea like it's their side hustle. What unfolded wasn't just tragedy, it was a cultural earthquake. Imagine love and hip-hop drama injected with HBO-level tragedy, spliced with TikTok edits and sprinkled with Illuminati conspiracy theories. This isn't just gossip. This is the final chapter nobody was ready for. Buckle up, because the truth about King Harris' last moments will leave you stunned, shattered, and scrolling for more. The Harris family name was supposed to be untouchable, an empire cemented by platinum records, reality TV deals, and the kind of star power that could shut down Atlanta traffic with a single Instagram live. T.I. strutted into hip-hop history books as the king of the South, and Tiny became the rock-solid matriarch, juggling music, business, and family like a pro. On paper, it was dynasty-level power, but in reality, it was chaos waiting for its final act. And that act arrived with King Harris' final moments, a headline that instantly made Hollywood scandals look like bedtime stories. Let's not sugarcoat it. King Harris was never the quiet child sitting politely in the back row of family portraits. He was the wildfire, the storm, the one who could turn a casual lunch into a viral meltdown. From getting into public fights, to screaming at fans on Instagram lives, to that infamous viral showdown with T.I. himself, King had perfected the art of turning family drama into front-page entertainment. The internet laughed, memed, and called him the clown prince of hip-hop nepotism. But beneath the memes, there was a ticking time bomb, and when it finally exploded, it didn't just shake the Harris family. It rocked the entire culture. The whispers started small. A few close sources claimed things weren't looking good. Rumors trickled through messy group chats, IG comments, and shady blogs that live for tragedy. And then, bam, the whispers turned into a roar. King Harris was in his final hours. No, this wasn't another prank. This wasn't another publicity stunt. This was serious, darker than anything the Harris family had ever faced. Tiny Harris, who had spent years defending her son with mama bear energy, reportedly broke down in ways fans had never seen. We're talking sobs echoing down hospital corridors, the kind of cries that don't belong on camera but somehow always find their way into the public. The internet, which had roasted her in the past, suddenly turned emotional. Fans started flooding timelines with crying emojis and pray for Tiny hashtags. For once, even the trolls went silent. And then there was T. I know the man loves big words. He's practically the Shakespeare of the sources. But in these moments, there were no expeditious speeches, no motivational one-liners. He allegedly stormed through those hospital halls like a general who just lost his last battle. Witnesses claimed he was furious, yelling at doctors, demanding answers, demanding miracles. The king of the South had been dethroned by something no fame, no money, no vocabulary could fix. But here's the part that made it even messier: the leaks. Because in the 21st century, even tragedy can't stay private. Blurry footage started surfacing online. A family huddled in grief, Tiny's shoulders shaking, T.I. red-faced, pacing like a man on the edge. And in the background, the quiet hum of machines that painted a picture no words could capture. Fans began dissecting every pixel like FBI agents. Is that Tiny's voice? Was that T.I. yelling? Did King really say something before it happened? Rumors claimed King's last words weren't even for his family, but for the fans. Supposedly, he whispered something about the pressure of fame, about never living up to expectations, about being judged. Whether it was true or twisted for clout, it spread like wildfire. Screenshots of fake text messages, exclusive leaks from anonymous sources, and TikToks narrating dramatic versions of events took over feeds. Suddenly, King Harris wasn't just a troubled celebrity kid, he was a tragic symbol of what happens when clout culture eats its young. In the reactions? Explosive. Some fans poured out love and condolences, posting long threads about mental health, fame, and parenting. Others, because the internet never changes, cracked jokes. Memes comparing the Harris family meltdown to Love and hip-hop but unedited went viral. One savage tweet even read, "T.I. gave us expeditious lectures but couldn't give his son expeditious peace." Cold? Yes, but it trended. Meanwhile, the Harris dynasty, once framed as hip-hop royalty, was now being dragged through the mud. Old interviews resurfaced. Clips of King mocking fans, fighting, or embarrassing his parents were suddenly spliced into foreshadowing compilations. It was as if the internet had been keeping receipts all along, waiting for the moment to cash in. But beyond the memes and the chaos, there was something darker in the air. This wasn't just another messy headline. This was a family's nightmare unfolding in real time. The silence between the crying clips was louder than anything T.I. had ever rapped. Fans described it as haunting. One viral TikTok even captioned the leak, "When the circus finally shuts down, the silence is deafening." And yet, even in the middle of tragedy, the circus didn't really shut down. Because as the family grieved, the blogs, gossip pages, and YouTubers spun it into content. Headlines screamed, "King Harris' final words exposed," and thumbnails plastered Tiny's tearful face next to T.I.'s angry glare. Every outlet was milking it, every platform was amplifying it, and every fan was feeding it. It wasn't just grief anymore, it was show business stop by the end of those first few hours. The Harris family wasn't just mourning a son, they were drowning in the weight of public spectacle. Their dynasty, their image, their carefully built empire of fame had cracked wide open, and the whole world was peeking inside. And if you think the chaos stopped there, you're dead wrong. Because what came next turned grief into global frenzy. The celebrity reactions, the memes, the conspiracy theories, the shade. The circus was just getting started. If the Harris family thought grief would buy them privacy, they clearly forgot the world they live in. This isn't 1995 where scandals got whispered in barbershops. This is 2025, baby, where every tear, every rumor, every screenshot becomes a trending topic before you can even say clout. And nothing spreads faster than celebrity tragedy. The second whispers of King Harris' final moments hit the internet, the industry pounced like hyenas around fresh meat. Suddenly, rappers who hadn't logged into Twitter since Obama's first term remembered their passwords. Prayers up for King Harris. Posts flooded timelines because God forbid you miss the wave of sympathy clout, but it wasn't all love. Oh no, hip-hop is beef baked into its DNA and the vultures came circling. One rival rapper whose career was basically on life support tweeted, "This is what happens when clout becomes your identity." Translation: kick a family while they're down. Then delete the tweet when the backlash gets too hot. Screenshots, of course, ensured it lived forever. Meanwhile, reality TV stars and influencers dove in like it was Black Friday. One Love and hip-hop personality literally went live crying with fake lashes halfway down her cheeks, blasting sad R&B music in the background, like she was auditioning for an Emmy in tragedy theater. Fans called it the fakest crying fit since Tyra Banks yelled, "We were rooting for you." The comment section? Brutal, but the views? Through the roof. Then came the memes. And if you thought the internet was going to handle this with dignity, you must be new here. TikTok edits mashed King's old wild IG lives with sad anime piano music. Twitter made jokes about T.I.'s expeditious parenting backfiring. One viral meme showed T.I. lecturing King with the caption, "Son, we don't die, we expeditiously transition." Dark? Absolutely. Viral? Without a doubt, but the internet doesn't just meme, it investigates. Suddenly, self-proclaimed detectives started piecing together timelines, conspiracy boards, and hidden meanings in King's old posts. One TikTok theorist swore King had been dropping cryptic messages in his IG captions for months, pointing out emojis like, "and as evidence, he knew the end was coming." Delusional? Yes, but millions of views later, people were eating it up like gospel. Celebrities outside of rap chimed in too. A-list actors, R&B singers, even washed-up YouTubers all dropped statements. Some heartfelt, some shady, some shamelessly opportunistic. 50 Cent, of course, couldn't resist. He jumped online with his trademark blend of humor and cruelty, cracking jokes that had half the internet laughing and the other half calling him heartless. But that's 50. He can make a funeral sound like a comedy roast and still trend #1. And then, because no tragedy is safe from conspiracy theorists, the Illuminati crowd stormed in. Threats popped up faster than leaks at a Kardashian wedding. This is the price of fame. A sacrifice for the Harris empire. Look at the Triangle and T.I.'s music videos. People were connecting dots that didn't even exist, dragging in other celebrities' old beefs, and industry lore like they were writing the script for National Treasure. 3. It wasn't just outsiders fanning the flames inside the Harris family. Old wounds started bleeding again. Blogs claimed there were explosive arguments in those hospital halls. Some whispered about siblings blaming each other. Others swore T.I. and Tiny had screaming matches so loud nurses had to step in. True or not, those rumors caught fire. Within hours, gossip blogs were pumping out headlines like "Family Civil War, Harris household implodes during King's last hours." And just when you thought it couldn't get messier, the leaks kept coming. Alleged text messages surfaced supposedly between insiders claiming King's final hours weren't as peaceful as the family wanted people to believe. One blog even reported that his last words weren't whispered prayers but bitter rants about fame and betrayal. Authentic? Who knows? But authentic doesn't matter when it racks up millions of clicks. The Harris family was now officially the main act in a global circus. Tiny's tears became thumbnails. T.I.'s silence became suspicious. King's blurred-out hospital photo became a viral image reposted 1 million times. Fans weren't watching a tragedy, they were binge-watching it like a Netflix docuseries. And the worst part? The public outrage wasn't consistent. Some people demanded compassion. Others mocked every move the family made. One second the internet was praying, the next second it was laughing, then it was fighting over conspiracy theories. It was chaos in real time, equal parts vigil, roast, and soap opera. Even brands got dragged. A sneaker company that had just signed a minor deal with King Harris quickly backpedaled, issuing a generic condolences tweet. Fans spotted the move instantly and roasted them for damage control disguised as sympathy. One comment read, "Y'all care more about protecting your collab than his family." Savage. By this point, King Harris had stopped being a person in the public eye and become something else entirely, a cultural spectacle. His name wasn't just in headlines, it was a trending keyword, a hashtag, a meme, a clout-chasing opportunity. And that's when fans began asking the uncomfortable question, was anyone really mourning him, or was everyone just performing grief for likes? But of course, the show didn't stop. Because in the middle of all this chaos, new revelations threatened to crack the Harris dynasty even further. Private feuds, financial secrets, industry enemies crawling out of the shadows. The final moments weren't the end, they were the spark for something even darker, and trust me, the aftermath was about to detonate like a nuclear bomb. When the chaos finally slowed down, when the hashtags dimmed, the memes dried up, and even the loudest trolls stopped tweeting, the reality hit like a sledgehammer. The Harris family wasn't just mourning their son. They were fighting to survive the fallout of a tragedy that became the internet's favorite spectacle. The Harris family had always lived under a spotlight. T.I., the self-proclaimed king of the South, was hip-hop royalty. Tiny was the backbone, the matriarch who kept it together through thick and thin. Together, they built a family brand that was supposed to shine like diamonds. But after King's final moments, that brand cracked like cheap glass, and everyone could see the fractures. The aftermath wasn't kind. T.I. became the face of failed fatherhood in the tabloids. Every clip of him lecturing King, every stern expeditious moment, was now dragged across timelines as evidence of hypocrisy. Fans and critics alike mocked the man who preached discipline yet watched his son spiral in public. The King of the South? Overnight, people rebranded him as the court jester of chaos. Tiny wasn't spared either. Once admired for her strength, she was painted as an enabler. Blogs reran clips of her defending King, and gossip pages accused her of loving her son blindly while ignoring his meltdown. The cruelest part? Memes started pairing her tearful hospital photo with old family hustle clips, slapping captions like, "You raised a storyline, not a son." Heartless. But viral, even King's siblings got pulled into the mess. Their social media accounts were bombarded with comments, fans demanding answers, trolls throwing shade. Suddenly, the entire Harris clan was a living case study in what happens when fame collides with tragedy. They weren't grieving privately, they were characters in the internet's most toxic reality show. And outside the family, the industry didn't hesitate to distance itself. Brand deals evaporated. TV producers pulled projects. Even old collaborators quietly stepped away. The Harris name went from hip-hop prestige to radioactive in record time. Hollywood loves a success story, but nothing makes them scatter faster than scandal. But here's where it gets darker. The leaks didn't stop. Screenshots of supposed private conversations surfaced, some between industry insiders dragging the Harris clan, others allegedly showing beef within the family itself. Whether real or fake didn't matter, the public treated it like gospel. One supposed text thread showed King lashing out in his last days, talking about the pressure of the crown. It might have been fake, but it spread across platforms like wildfire, adding fuel to the fire. Then came the think pieces. The intellectual crowd jumped in, penning essays about the cost of clout, the tragedy of hip-hop heirs, and why King Harris is a cautionary tale. Overnight, he became less of a person and more of a symbol, the warning sign of what fame does when it collides with youth, ego, and expectation. Everyone had an opinion, and none of it left space for silence. Fans were split. Half created heartfelt tributes, edits of King's best moments, posts about mental health, and threads begging for compassion. The other half kept trolling, screenshotting his old meltdowns and captioning them with foreshadowing jokes. The line between mourning and mocking blurred until it didn't even exist. In the end, King Harris wasn't just gone, he was transformed into digital content, consumed and recycled endlessly. And as for T.I. and Tiny, they were left picking up the pieces. Reports said they couldn't leave their home without cameras flashing. Every move was analyzed, every word dissected. If T.I. spoke, he was criticized. If Tiny stayed silent, she was judged. There was no winning, only surviving. The wider impact was undeniable. King Harris' final moments sparked debates about parenting, fame, mental health, and the industry's obsession with drama. But instead of answers, all it did was feed the machine. The blogs made money. The gossip channels gained subscribers. TikTokers farmed clout with fake story times. The Harris family lost a son. But the internet gained a saga. And here's the cruel irony. In death, King Harris finally achieved the fame he always seemed to chase. His name trended worldwide. His face plastered thumbnails. His story became viral currency. But at what cost? His family's grief turned into clickbait. His last moments became entertainment. And his legacy was written by people who never knew him. Yet the internet has the attention span of a goldfish. Within weeks, new scandals began stealing the spotlight. Another rapper's beef. Another celebrity meltdown. Another tragedy turned meme. King Harris' name started to fade from trending lists, pushed aside by the next viral sensation. The Harris family was left in silence, not because the world respected their grief, but because the internet had already moved on to its next meal. But make no mistake, the scars remained. For T.I., for Tiny, for the siblings, for everyone touched by King's chaotic legacy. And for the culture, it was a chilling reminder. Fame isn't just a dream, it's a weapon. It builds you up, it tears you down, and when you're gone, it recycles your life as content. King Harris' final moments left his family broken and the world stunned. But the question now is, who's next? Because in this circus, the show never ends, and that, ladies and gentlemen, was King Harris' final act. Tragic and messy than a Love and Hip Hop reunion hosted by Wendy Williams on Red Bull. You've just watched the kind of story that makes the Kardashians look like a Disney Channel sitcom. But before you click away and dive into your next TikTok scroll session, let me remind you, this circus never stops. If you're still here, you're not just a viewer, you're part of the drama-fueled family we've built. So don't just sit there like a background extra, smash that like button like it owes you rent money. Drag that subscribe button into the mess and light up the comment section like it's a rap battle. Tell me, do you think T.I. failed as a father? Was Tiny too soft? Or was King simply the product of a fame machine that chews up kids and spits them out for clicks? Drop your hot take, because around here, The comments section is the after party. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. This industry pumps out scandals faster than Future pumps out baby mamas. Today it's King Harris, tomorrow it's someone else's meltdown courtroom drama, or secretly leaked tape that will have the internet filming at the mouth. And when it drops, you already know we'll be here first, serving it hotter, sharper, and wilder than anyone else. So hit subscribe like your life depends on it, because this isn't just gossip, it's survival entertainment. This is where secrets get dragged, lies get exposed, and Hollywood skeletons dance under a spotlight they can't escape. Welcome to the front line of scandal. Welcome to Trent Tattle, where the tea never cools and the show never ends.